What's going on, everybody out there, and welcome back to another episode of the Dark Avenger comic book review, coming at you unfortunately not live this week. We are back to a video format for a lot of reasons. One of those reasons being I have a bit of a sore throat, so I don't know if I might have to take pauses or we might have to edit this. I'm not sure. I'm going to try to do this all in one take, but going live, wasn't sure how I'd hold up. It happened right after Frontline Live this week. Had a bit of a sore throat. I don't know. Hopefully everything will be fixing up by the weekend, and we'll be back to a live format. I know a lot of you are missing us live, and usually this is the part of the show before I go too far where we do a pre-show or whatever. Obviously we're not live, so we're not going to do too much of a pre-show because there's no back and forth. More of like an update kind of thing instead. I do want to talk about a few things. Like I said, we haven't been live this month, and that's because we're doing Horror Fest over on Dark Avenger Gaming. Now, we haven't done a lot yet. We got a couple of streams up. I did a couple of streams. I did some Alien Isolation. I did some Soma. We're going to end Horror Fest with the second and final part to Soma. But we're going to hopefully have a couple more streams throughout the next couple of weeks. We'll be doing some more horror games. We got some more Friday the 13th. We got a few other games. We might not buy any new games this year because it looks like we will be okay on games. And the reason also for that is I did not realize how many games, actually new games, that aren't horror, unfortunately, but new games that are coming out this month. And in realizing that, we have a lot on the way already. Adding to that is a little bit more than our funds can handle. So we're going to stick with the horror games that we have already this year, maybe next year. All depends. As you all know, anyone who buys several video games a year, you guys know that from September to December, these are the months that things are heavy, and then there's also, I forget if it's spring or...
It's around spring.
Around spring,
like
and
March,
winter. Around March-ish is the other time. There's 2 times a year where things are hefty. Before E3 and the end of the year. So we're at the end of the year, so we're at the hefty, this is the stuff you get that, kids ask for Christmas and whatnot. So, we're going to keep chugging along. Now, next month, Dark Avenger Live, hopefully we'll be back, and we'll be back in full swing. Hopefully you all will be there. We'll be having a lot of fun. Now, what a lot of you don't know, and I haven't mentioned this yet, is there is something going on behind the scenes on my end right now, and as a matter of fact, this is the week where things started to get put into motion. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself yet and start talking about this until it is a little bit further along in development. And this has nothing to do with 529, it has nothing to do with the comic. Both of those are going according to plan, and they're going very strong, and we're moving forward really fast. So look forward to a lot of stuff there. This is something else that I set into motion. And I think in November, when Dark Avenger Live comes back, I'll have more of an idea of when. I will be making a video talking about this. More than likely it will be the middle of November, and then we will have a Dark Avenger Live Q&A on it the end of November. So I'll let everybody have time to absorb the video, and then after the video we'll do a Q&A. So hopefully you all will be there for the video. It's kind of a big video. I will say this, it is a big update, and it is something that is going to... let's just say it's a big update. It's a big update, and it's a lot of news of things to come in 2019, especially. And I'd love to hear from all of you, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And honestly, like I said, it's set into motion. I just love to hear your thoughts on this. I'm saying it now. It's not like if it is a definite thing that's going to be going on. But again, I love having a Q&A back and forth, talking about it, seeing your opinions on moving forward with this project. What I don't want to give too much away. But basically, hearing your opinions on it and getting feedback on what you would like, what you wouldn't like on said project. And I can't divulge more than that. And with that, that's almost 5 minutes. I think that's a good, solid pre-show. So look forward to the video. Nobody be afraid. It's not something that's drastic or anything like that. I'm sure a few of you are nervous no matter what. I know whenever somebody says there's a big update video coming, a lot of people get nervous. At the same time, don't worry about it. It's not like I'm going anywhere. I'm on a bunch of channels. So even if it was something to do with closing something down, you'd find me somewhere else also. So don't worry about it. I'm not going anywhere. Let me say that so nobody worries about that. I'm not going anywhere. So with that, as my voice is starting to get a little
I'll take over from here. So we have 16 books that we are doing digital this week. One book came out a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, the next issue just came out.
Right. And these books were released on October 3rd, 2018, the first week of October. And we're going to start with your book first that came out weeks before.
This book came out approximately a month ago because issue number 27 was just released. But this is issue 26, one of my favorite indie superhero groups out there.
Yeah, and also, I hate to interrupt you, I'm going to hold it a little bit lower because I have it charged.
Yeah, Mike has
reasons.
it plugged in. The thing ran out of charge, so we had to wait for it also.
The book you're talking about is?
Argo 5, issue number 26. Issue 27 was released, and I'm looking forward to reviewing that as well. However, as you can see by the cover, Dan Sin, the writer, has been going through his character's origins, and in this book we get Gladiatra and Ultro's origin. We find out that Megamax was depowered for a time, and we see his relationship with Gladiatra and Ultro's mother develop. They spent years together. They have the two children, which is Gladiatra and Ultro, and then something happens. I'm not spoiling that. It's wow. It's very emotionally impactful. And let's just say, long story short, Megamax gets his powers back, but at the same time, Gladiatra and Ultro are genetically connected to him, so they get powers. So then it goes into him training them. It goes to them as, I believe, young adults, and Ultro kind of wanting to be his own person. For those of you that remember my review way back when Ultro made his first appearance in Argo 5.
The pinup section has only one character?
It's only Gladiatra, because this is a Gladiatra origin book.
Oh, okay.
So it shows him leaving and joining the, going to Canada, making a name for himself there, joining Team North America, or Northeast. I'm sorry, I think I said that wrong. It's Team, is it North America? It might be Team North America. But anyway, it shows Ultro joining. It's right there. It would be somewhere over here where it says what team he's joined.
Wait, gotta zoom in.
Yeah, Team North America. I was right. He joined Team North America. Now Gladiatra has this want to be like her dad and to create a team of her own. And this is the beginning of Argo. I do too. This is the beginning of Argo 5, where she meets the benefactor who basically supplies the watchtower, or the headquarters and everything. And this is where the beginning of the book kind of... So Gladiatra, technically, her origin ends at the very beginning of Argo 5. And I believe Dan said there's one more origin. It's going to be 2 issues from now, though. So I'm looking forward to that one. And if you've been following right along, you know who's left. The next arc, I'm super excited for. This is, number 1, amazing artwork. Number 2, it's an amazing origin for Gladiatra. A definite must-read, especially if you're a fan of Argo 5. I loved it. The pinup section is awesome, as always. Argo Comics, ARGO Comics.com. You could also find it on any Indie Planet if you look up Argo Comics. Argo 5, Sorority of Power. There was the Havoc Patrol. There's 2 Law and Orders. This is one of them. This is the Halloween one. Last year was a Christmas one. There's Pickle Boy, which was a convention book, and Argo 5. And there's the anthology as well, the Argo Anthology, which another series I highly recommend. I've not read Sorority of Power. That's Mike's book, and he always highly recommends it. So this book gets a 5 out of 5, as always. Excellent writing. I love the artwork in here, and I hope the artwork continues forward. Dan gets really great artists to do his book. And he actually did the art for the first couple of books. Little fact for you, Argo fact. But this was an excellent read. If you haven't read any Argo 5, I would highly recommend checking out issue 0, issue 1, the anthology, and issue 2. If by that time, and maybe issue 3, let's put out issue 3. If by that time you are not hooked, I question why. And I want to know why. So let me know in the comments if you were not hooked after issue 3. But this is on my top 5 favorite indie books. It is a must-read, and every time it comes out, first thing I say is I can't wait to get my hands on it. So, since it was just announced that Argo 527 is coming out and the next Sorority of Power is coming out, I cannot wait to get my hands on issue 27 and come back with you guys once again with the next issue review. Now, the reason this is late is because I missed it the first couple of weeks because we had a lot of books. And then I realized that a fifth episode was coming. So Argo 5, fifth episode. See what I did there?
Oh.
So I waited for the fifth episode, and that's why we're doing it now. Little play on the numbers for the comic reviews, but I love this book. I really do. Dan does amazing work with Argo 5 and with his universe. Highly recommend you check him out. And now we're going into this week's books, which I believe you are starting us off, which is good. I'm going to go grab something to drink.
Yes. So WWE issue number 21, and this is the origin story of the phenomenal AJ Styles. For those of you who know AJ Styles as a professional wrestler. So it talks about how he became to be, like how he was a wrestler in high school. Then he was this pilot, some fighter pilot on WCW, and this was during the time when WWE wanted to buy out WCW. And with that, when AJ Styles heard that, he would be jobless of saying, like, you know, what he's going to do or how he's going to provide for his family and whatnot. So he had a little bit of, you know, thinking about that to do. So with that, he went into, you know, the whole WWE arena where they wanted to sign him up for NXT at first. But with NXT and going around places with Triple H, he just wants to say, put me in the Rumble, because I'll tell you this, the fans will go wild and crazy, and they'll love me being in the Rumble. So that's why he participated in the Royal Rumble. And you know, they said that he has and always will be phenomenal. That's why he's a phenomenal AJ Styles. And he was in TNA. I'm surprised they didn't mention that in the story, but, you know, they can't mention everything. And I love the second story, how they do Braun Strowman, about how he was the monster, and then it had to take Roman Reigns to be the knight to actually, you know, come in to save the day and stuff like that. So, definitely something as a fun read to read for that. But I have to admit, though, like, that book was, it was a really great book, that one. And I would definitely recommend you guys pick up the WWE issues, because they've been really, really great. Like, I think that we're going to be going to AJ Styles now a little bit more. Maybe they might go a little bit of in-depth, because it said to be continued. So maybe it might run into his TNA days. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe that'll be for that. But with all other stuff, so I would definitely say that. And excuse the background noise, it's just a bunch of talking and everything. So yeah, and then all that happens in WWE 21 will continue on. Oh, I was waiting for you. Your book is next, actually.
Yeah, sorry. I had to fix the stupid TV. I'm sorry if there was background noise. That was the TV.
Oh,
so.
Alright, yeah. So definitely pick up WWE. Alright. Now you go.
Paper Girls, issue number 25, the last issue for a while. I loved this issue. It made it in my top 5 this week on Frontline. For those of you that missed it, Frontline Live, check it out on Frontline. I loved this issue of Paper Girls. This ends their time in the future. They find a way to get back to their time, and they find out they have to get back to their time, because if they don't end up back in their time, all of time, well, basically the world is going to get destroyed. Time will continue, the world will basically perish, because they're out of time, and it's throwing everything else on the planet off. And that's what we hear from the grandfather, and that's all we see of him in this entire episode. But we find out that, first of all, Tiffany, the adult Tiffany, ends up dying, which was really wow. So we got her at the beginning of this arc and lost her at the end of this arc, which I knew was going to happen. They always get new characters, and then most of the newer characters either leave, die, or as we saw in this arc, a lot of them moved into the future somehow and survived, but they're older. So older Tiffany ends up dying. KJ and Mac finally said, you know, she sees that KJ is going to die, you know, almost died. And she finally kind of, her proud hiding what she feels for her kind of died, and at that moment they get together. But then we get to see, I forget what the girl's name was, but anyway, we get to see the doppelganger, so to speak, her doppelganger, show up again, and she tried to kill them at a different time, but this time around, she realizes that obviously she's fighting for this cause. Now, I don't think it's her. I think it's somebody who looks like hers, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she'll join them. Maybe she ends up joining this group. But anyway, the doppelganger says, if we let you go back, we're going to lose. Number one. And then number two, you guys are strong together, and we can't have that. And I love how Cage is like, no, not now, not after what just happened. And they all get separated at the end of this arc throughout time. So this time around, when the arc ends, they're all in different times. So there is a new time for all of them. They didn't make it. They were this close to making it home, but they didn't make it. I feel like it's kind of like, not Quantum Leap, it's kind of like Voyager. They always get to that point where they're so close, but then they lose it. But anyway, instead of them all being in a different time together, all 5 of them are in different times and different places. One of them being in our present day, 2018. That's going to be interesting. I think from what Kat says, we won't be seeing this again until spring. I'm sad, but it's expected, because that's what Paper Girls has always been like. They give us a volume, and then they take a couple months break, and then they come back and they give us a powerful next volume. And if they need this break in between to give us good stories, by all means take it. Birthright does it. Saga is taking a whole year off. So if it, see, in this case, especially with Image, if it's to really make the series good, they need this extra time, I say do it. You know, I'd rather have a quality book. Granted, a year break is a long time, but I'd rather be given a quality book than a, you know, forced because we got to get it out as soon as possible book. I want quality over speed. And I'll just wait. I'll wait for all the series. I'm looking forward. Birthright's going on. It's actually came out today, this week. So I'm looking forward to reading Birthright. And Birthright, I believe, just started up again. So we're going to have all the Birthright talk. And I think by the time Birthright goes on break, Paper Girls might be coming back. And then I think halfway through Paper Girls, Saga will be back. So, hey. That was a lot for Paper Girls, but it was a good book.
Tomb Raider Inferno, issue number 4.
Just let me point one more thing out for that. If you missed it, you can get the trade. There's an omnibus with the first 3 trades, and then there's going to be trades all the way up to where we're at now. So if you missed it, trade paperback.
So in this issue, it's mostly the focal point of Lara Croft meeting with Jonah, who she thinks is just an illusion and stuff like that. And I like the chemistry that Lara Croft and Jonah have with each other, and how he helps her out, along with that woman that thought that was gonna take her place and stuff like that. But you know, they just have like this little bit of a fight right there, and I like how Jonah found the golden saw, or was it a sledgehammer? Was it a sledgehammer? No, the golden saw, yeah. And you know, it's actually put to good use of what he uses it for, and there is a death in here of, well, yeah. So I won't say who it is unless you didn't read the story. But as the whole story continues, they just escape the whole avalanche that's going on. Or actually, Lara Croft helps Jonah out, for that matter. And it looks like in the next issue now is going to be Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is actually based off probably the video game of, for those of you who have played or bought that, you'll see how it is from there. So it'll be actually great for me to see, because I haven't seen the game yet, but I would like to read how they do in the comic book.
Now, this also is part of my favorite top 5 of the week, and that is the Macro Series for TMNT's back. Macro Series, Donatello one-shot. Now, before we get into the story, I do want to make one mention. We had the Micro Series. Now, they did this back in the 80s as well. They did Micro Series for Raphael first, then they did Mikey, and they finished off the team later on, I think maybe a year later or something like that. But they did it in the 80s, and when they rebooted this, or restarted the series, restart, both, a couple of years back, it's amazing to think that it's been 80 months
Wow, that's
80
a lot.
plus months. We're past 85, so it's been a long while. It's been years. It's been years. But we had the micro series way back in the beginning. We had a micro series for the heroes, the villains. We had the Bebop and Rocksteady had two more than they deserved. 5-part, 5-issue arcs. I believe there's another TMNT one that came out way back. That was 5 issues. Yes, with the trial for Krang, they did another 5 issues, 5 weeks event. And there were other little tie-ins here, there, and everywhere. But anyway, the macro series. This is new now. It's the micro series times 2, and that means the book's more expensive. Instead of it being $3.99, $4.99, it's a $7.99 book, I think, or $6.99. If you could check, that would be great. While I'm talking about it, it's $6.99 or $7.99. It's either a $7 or $8 book, but it's 54 pages. It's a thick book. It is borderline.
You me out before I turned it off.
Well, you turned it off too quick. It's a borderline trade,
It's
mini trade.
$7.99.
$7.99, $8. It's borderline mini trade, and there's going to be 4 of them, but they're doing it in the course of, I believe, 4 months. So technically, you only have to pay that $8 once a month. Is it worth it? Let's talk about Donatello's. Now, I don't know. I can't talk for the other turtles because I see what they're doing already. Each turtle has his own macro book, and each turtle is going to have his own story. Now, with Donatello, Donnie is trying to get Harold back in his good graces. As we all know, in issue 50, Harold, or close to issue 50, or right after, Harold wants nothing to do with the turtles anymore because ever since they came into his life, you know, people have gotten hurt. His ex-wife, whom he is now close with again, he almost lost her because of them, and he's like, I'm done. I don't want nothing to do with you. Don't call me. Don't bother me. Nothing. So Donnie, using the excuse of dismantling all the rest of the Metalhead stuff, gets Harold to come by, and then he explains to him he has this project he wants to work on using the tech to look into the future and to see so he could predict so no one can get hurt. And of course, Harold is a very interesting character. Harold doesn't give a crap. If it doesn't benefit him, if it doesn't interest him, he doesn't give a crap. He has a very, like, I don't care personality. Even his wife says it later on in the book. He leaves his stuff with Donatello for one night. They had a big argument back and forth. He wanted to take a minute of. He's like, give me a week, give me 3 days, give me a day, give me one night. And he's like, fine, I'll give you one night. And the wife's like, wow, you've never really cared for a person enough to leave your stuff behind. And he realizes something else. But what he realizes is Metalhead, when Donnie works on, was working with the stuff, it sends out a tracking device, which sends out a tracking device to Metalhead. So Metalhead tracks it back to Donnie. And now remember, Donnie and Metalhead are the same person. Metalhead is Donatello before he got his mind put back into his regular body. So Metalhead now, taking away all of his humanity, no longer has humanity, no longer, identifies as Donatello, goes and asks Donnie, what are you doing? Obviously he's still having dreams, he's very much still Donatello, but basically his own being, he's going his own path. And he forcefully offers to help Donnie fix this device. And you see that they're getting closer and closer, and it looks like everything's going great. Finally Metalhead's like, realizing maybe Donatello and him can be close, like the other turtles, and the device works, and we get to see a flash page of certain events that are going to be, certain things that we're going to be seeing in the future, possibly. And then Harold shows up, and a fight breaks out. And we find out that Donnie, in the background, was setting up to, what's the word? What was the word? To damage Metalhead. Basically, he was looking. He figured Metalhead was gonna double cross him, so he was damaging Metalhead to double cross the double crosser. But Metalhead never planned to double cross Donnie, and that's where I guess we're not as, close as I thought. And then Metalhead's like, look, either, throw a smoke bomb, let me get the hell out of here, or I'm going to kill this turtle. Harold does it. Metalhead leaves. Again, just like in the main series, Donnie has a chance to bring Metalhead in, and he screws it up. For a smart turtle, he really is dumb. He really is, I got to say that. But in the end of the book, the one positive that comes out of it is it looks like Harold might be coming around again, which is a good thing, because I feel like Harold was a really strong supporting character when it came to the Turtles. I liked having... He was an ass. I'm not gonna lie, but it was nice having him as a support character. It'll be nice to see him back in the Turtle book a little bit. Agree to disagree. Anyone who reads Turtles, I'm one of the few, but I love the series, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the Macro series.
Walking Dead, issue number 184, and this comic was actually very interesting. The owner, I forgot what her name was. She actually comes back to see, what's going on in the town. Like there's like a whole riot that's going on. People are still against Michonne for going with the people instead of the security guard with what's going on. So she gets beat up really, really bad, and then she stands before trial to defend the security guard, and Rick's there actually to support her in this matter. And there's a bunch of other dialogue that happens. It's like really heavy. It's like a little heavy dialogue in this. We get a little bit of a action over there for two characters, and we have Rick who talks with Dwight, and from their conversation, looks like Dwight's not too happy about, with trying to tell Rick that he's trying to save people in some sort of way, and there's just like a little bit of an argument that just turns out of like Dwight either probably that's going to go against him or for him. I don't know, but it doesn't look like he's on Rick's side too much for that.
All right, we're in the big two now, and with the big two, Marvel has brought back What If. What If, and there were two that came out this week. One was X-Men. I did not like it. It is not part of this review. But the other one was What If Flash Thompson became Spider-Man.
Ooh, this ought to be good. And is this where the Watcher is in that one? The What Ifs?
It's not the Watcher anymore. Remember, it's Nick Fury, who is now the
because the Watcher's dead.
Right.
Oh.
So Nick Fury is the one that's seeing this Elseworld turn out, and it was an okay. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it because it's a what if book. It's not really gonna matter. I mean, maybe it'll matter for Spider-Geddon or like a big old crossover.
That's Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Oh.
But long story short, the bully becomes the hero, and Uncle Ben survives because Flash Thompson stops the crook that kills him, and of course Peter doesn't become a wrestler. He just ends up stopping the crook that killed Uncle Ben, and
Peter finds out.
Peter finds out, but Flash, being still the person he is, and J. Jonah Jameson's still very much against Spider-Man. He blames Pete for supplying the photos to J. Jonah Jameson, and he kind of lashes out and accidentally, spoiler alert, kills him. And what happens is Spider-Man shows up. He saves the day, but then he admits that he killed Peter Parker. He's like, with great power comes great responsibility, and I am not a hero. And it's because he's a murderer, so he ends up going to jail.
Wait, he didn't know great power comes great responsibility.
He came into it.
Alright. I thought because Uncle Ben told that to Peter, I thought maybe Pete might have told him, like my uncle once told me.
No.
Without having power.
But basically, it was an okay story. Was it like super spectacular, amazing? No, but again, it's what if, and it's nice to have the what ifs back, because while there were some stories, there were some really excellent stories from What If, and I think we might be seeing one next episode when Mike talks about what if Peter Parker
becomes the Punisher. That's gonna be
like Spider-Man. No, but with the Spider-Man powers, became Punisher.
I wonder how that's gonna go.
I know. Oh, I thought we froze for a second. I picked my finger up and I saw we moved. We just stopped moving for a moment.
Oh.
But my favorite book from Marvel this week has to be the Superior Octopus one-shot. It's connected to Spider-Geddon.
So many one-shots this week.
It's connected to Spider-Geddon. I actually did get this book physically because it doesn't only lead into Spider-Geddon. It leads into Superior Spider-Man issue number 1. Which obviously back when they announced this book they couldn't say that. But now, with us knowing in a couple of months we're going to be getting Superior Spider-Man number 1 alongside Miles Morales Spider-Man number 1. Which I will be getting Superior Spider-Man physically. Miles Morales I'll probably try out digitally. Just like I read Peter Parker digitally and we buy Amazing Spider-Man. It's just that's the way it is. But anyway, Superior Octopus was really good. I liked it. It sets Doc Ock in California. The Horizon Labs team is once again the supporting cast for Doc Ock. Who goes by a different name. He works for them, but like I say, he's under a different name. He's a teacher. Anne Marie is there, and I like how, you know, he plays Doc Ock. He's saving the day, and then he also enlists these other villains. He says, "Listen, you work for me now. I'll pay you. You make sure you report to me any crimes, and you keep an eye, and you make sure nothing bad happens, and you'll never have to worry about money again. But you're not allowed to rob." So basically, he's converting lower villains into basically his own little mob of superheroes, question mark. It's Superior Spider-Man all over again. Doc Ock doing Spider-Man, doing superheroing his way. Which, now that Pete's back to balance it, the real Spider-Man's back, Ben Reilly, Scarlet's out there, Miles Spider-Man's out there, Spider-Ghost, a.k.a. Spider-Gwen, is in a different universe, but she's out. But basically, there's so many spiders now. Doc Ock Spider-Man and his way of working is just another Spider-Man doing his own thing. And I can back that now because we didn't lose Pete this time. We still have Pete. We have 3 books with Pete soon. Friendly Neighborhood's coming with Tom Taylor. Tom Taylor's an amazing writer. I can't wait to sink my teeth into it. I can talk. But this sets up Superior Spider-Man going into Spider-Geddon. There's a little backstory that connects to Spider-Geddon, issue number 4 and issue 0. Edge of the Spider-Geddon, issue 4. Spider-Geddon, issue number 0. Connects a little bit here. And we also see how Doc Ock is using the technology the Inheritors use. Basically, every time he dies, because he's a clone, he's in a clone's body, the machine takes his brain wave the very moment of death and transfers it to another clone. So basically, Doc Ock, or Superior Spider-Man, is now immortal. He can't die. You kill him, a clone will come up again. And you know what? I believe that's how they're going to keep the mythos alive, that Doc Ock... I mean, truly and honestly, no superhero and no villain ever truly dies. Every superhero and villain that dies ends up eventually coming back. Lex Luthor was cloned.
Unless
Osborn
you're
came
another
back.
writer. Brian. You
No.
know what's dead is...
No, because they brought back... you're talking about... Mike's talking about Brian Michael Bendis with Charles Xavier. No, Charles Xavier's coming back.
Alright, just saying.
But dead is not dead anymore. Dead is just a temporary term, whether it be years, months, days, centuries, decades. Eventually, it comes back. Eventually. Everyone who's died or left has come back to their main role at some point. Except Dick, who is Nightwing. And that's basically, he graduated. That's a different story. But, in this case, I like the setup. I like how Anne-Marie is kind of questioning. And I like how it also shows how one of the police officers is like, you know, you're still wearing that suit when you were working for Hydra. Even if you were, he lies and says he's brainwashed. He said, even if you were brainwashed, you really should think of something else. Superior Octopus, very Hydra. And the colors, very Hydra. And as a matter of fact, he does end up fighting Aram Zola and defeats him. And Gorgon, which is really cool. So we do see Gorgon's death for now. But this starts the thought process of maybe I should go back to Superior Spider-Man because he's in California, and maybe Anne-Marie will be the one that, you know, she knows. I think Anne-Marie truly does know, and I think that she's going to kind of be like his sidekick. I don't know. Like his tech sidekick. We'll have to wait and find out. It's nice to see Max Modell again as well. I'm looking forward to Superior Spider-Man 1. I'm looking forward to Spider-Geddon. That we are getting physical as well. The main series, not the sister series, not the Edge. We didn't get the Edge. We got the Edge digitally. Spider-Geddon, I think, is 6 issues. Might as well try it out. I did like issue 0. As a matter of fact, issue 0 is on the comic book corner wall. As you can see up there. I think y'all can see it. It's up there at the tip top, right next to Supergirl. I love that cover. I love the game. I love the video game Spider-Man. If I can get covers with the video game Spider-Man on it and not have to pay an arm and a leg, if I can pay cover price like I did for that, I think I will. And I think issue 1, I actually do have the video game Spider-Man variant. So, and it costs the same price. Going into DC, but starting with Vertigo. Ugh, God, I hope your book comes soon. The Dreaming, issue number 2. Now, this just barely missed my top 5, and that's because Marvin, who is the character on this cover, is talking. It's the entire issue of him basically complaining about the way the Dreaming is since since Sandman left, and how things are going wrong. And he's talking about his day where he lost his crew, where he has to deal with the blanks, that are there and dealing with the girl who apparently is like half demon, and Lucian's not all there, and he's basically talking to somebody. We don't know who until the end of the book, but he's saying, you know, I tried to ask for help from everybody and nobody can help me. That's the only reason why I decided to turn here, which of course we all know is a mistake when we see who he turns to. But he's basically had it, and the whole book is him complaining about the way things are going, so he needs somebody to take over for Sandman, because Sandman's gone. Hopefully Sandman will come back soon. I really do hope. I hope the dreaming turns into staying the dreaming, but the Sandman is the main character of it. But Lucian's losing it, and he goes to Judge, I forget his name, but it's at the end of the book. And he comes out of the dark chest, which is basically the world of nightmares. And he's gonna run the dreaming. Marvin made a big mistake, and I think it's gonna come back to haunt him. We'll see in the next issue how that's dealt with, because Lucian's been standing in for Sandman while he's gone and possibly never coming back. So we'll have to see how that gets dealt with. Now, I want to just throw this out there. This will probably be the last. No, I shouldn't say that, because Border Town issue number 2. Let's talk about it. I like this issue. So the kids are running off. The white supremacist kid goes home and he got his butt kicked. You know, obviously he's going to play a role in the book later on, but the Chupacabra makes a reappearance, and all the kids, for one reason or another, see this in the news, and they're like, I gotta check this out, for one reason or another. They chase him down. We find out that he's being hunted down by his brothers, so the kids come in, they rescue him, and they run into this store. This is the long and short version of it. It's a lot of just talking heads. But anyway, they go into this store, and this woman who knows Max, who's the main character of the book, says, I know a lot about you. My history with your family goes way back, and we get to see the store is sitting on top of a Mayan kind of like temple, or a temple period. Okay, that last page, I will admit, alright, you pulled me back in with that last page, now I want to know more, but wow. So that's all the Vertigo stuff. Digital first, The Death of Superman Part 1. I'm surprised it's still Part 1. I thought we'd be in Part 2 at least, but Part 1, Chapter 10. And we haven't even heard about a physical book yet, so I don't know. It's the same cover all the time, just a different number. But I don't know if we're going to be getting a physical book. I'm kind of sad if we don't. I would like a physical book of this. Holding on to a digital is fine, but this is all about Flash memory with Superman. And it's just like the old books where it's Flash versus Superman in a race, except this time it's Mxyzptlk and his cousin. And his cousin both picks Flash, and of course Mxyzptlk says Superman's going to win, and whichever superhero wins gets one wish. Obviously Superman and Flash get to the end, and of course Flash wins. Flash has won several races, and it's been proven that Flash can go a little bit faster than Superman. I mean, it's a superpower.
I mean, he could run across water.
So could Superman, but Flash was faster. And his wish was that everything was put back to normal and nobody remembered anything except for him and Superman, which he didn't say that. Mxyzptlk's cousin said, you two are going to remember it, and he gives Flash the trophy. And I like how Flash is remembering this and those memories. And then Cyborg comes in and says he's always told the truth. I think the next issue is going to be about Cyborg. I don't know. We'll have to wait to find out. But I'm enjoying these chapters. It's a nice little breath of fresh air in the middle of the main DC books, and it's also nice because it's leading up to the Reign of the Supermen, which is coming oh so soon, only a couple more months. I'm really excited for that. You have no idea how excited. And now that it's been announced that Young Justice with that Superboy is coming back, I know that the animated series will have no problem having Superboy around, Connor around.
Alright, Green Arrow, issue number 45. So in last issue, we find out that Superman wants to talk with Green Arrow. And it's actually an unfortunate circumstance that happened. In the Sanctuary, Red Arrow, known as Roy Harper, has passed away.
Yeah.
And, everybody knew about it that was close to him. And it shows Oliver Queen, who was, really close with Red Arrow. He was like a son to him and everything. And you could tell Oliver's anger that he's feeling deep inside with his emotions. How he's unlashing on, Clark, and then saying, you're the Justice League, you should have been there for things that happened. And John Jones tries to talk him some sense into him, and he doesn't want to listen because his anger and his madness towards losing Roy Harper, like I said, I was like a son to him, has really taken over his mind. And I like how it shows that. He meets up with someone by the name of Annie, who is also close with Roy as well. And just the whole thing of just knowing how close he was to him. I mean, it's really unfortunate to know that Roy's not going to be in the books anymore unless for some miracle he comes back. But
I don't know. I have a feeling that by the end of Heroes in Crisis, I think we might see a few of them coming back.
Yeah, but that really emotional issue, and definitely.
This is the 5 books, 5 weeks deal.
Yeah, now this is Wonder Woman Justice League Dark. This is the Witching Hour, issue number 1. Now, I do read part 1, yeah. Now, I know Wonder Woman of Justice League Dark, I think, is coming out this week.
Yep.
So I'll be definitely reading that, but I gotta admit, it's a long dialogue heavy book, but I'm just gonna talk in like a couple of sentences. Basically, Wonder Woman died. So now Wonder Woman is in this different universe where she has to fight over magic. And it does talk about a little briefly about the last issue where it had Upside Down Face in it. And we have Zatanna, who knows magic, that can actually help out with this whole thing with what's going on with Wonder Woman. So we see all that happening, and it's just a bunch of stuff we see, and how the new Trion on Wonder Woman's head affects her. We have Swamp Thing with Detective Chimp, who help out with this thing that's happening with Wonder Woman. And inside Wonder Woman's head was something that Zatanna thought that she could try to overcome. And he's like saying, no, she can't, because it is way powerful. And the entity is way powerful as well. So now, and John Constantine comes back and everything, and he's like saying, well, basically, with the witching hour that's just begun, we're all going to die. And it continues in Wonder Woman issue number 56, which I believe...
Then it'll go to Justice League Dark, then it'll go back to Wonder Woman 57, then it'll go to the one-shot that's Justice League Dark, Wonder Woman.
Right, so it's going to play a little game of Pong, basically.
Now, I will not be reviewing Nightwing issue 50. I thought I'd be coming back after the Cyber story arc. I don't particularly like the route they're going, because now Nightwing 50 takes place after 55 of Batman, and he gets shot in the head and obviously gets amnesia. That was, I remember Jay talking about it weeks ago, and I was like, I don't think I'd like that. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Different personality, different take. It's like basically Dick Grayson, if he never became Robin, never became Nightwing, if he just lived his life normal, didn't lose... I don't even know if he remembers losing his parents. Basically, if Dick was normal, or basically Dick not knowing a damn thing about himself. Very edgy and very not Dick. So, I'm going to be continuing my break on Nightwing. But, Batman issue number 56, he finds out that it was KG Beast that did the shooting. And this issue is all about him finding KG Beast and making him pay for it. And KG Beast in this issue is talking with his father, so it bounces back and forth between KG Beast talking to his dad and who he is and whatnot, and Batman getting intel on where he can find KG Beast. And Batman is the first person that's left alive by him, and the father's like, that was a mistake. You left someone alive. They will try to track you down. They will try to figure out who did it, and they will try to come after you. And I don't know if he wanted that or not, per se, but long story short, that's what he's getting, because Batman finds him by the end of the issue. But the twist here is KG Beast actually kills his own father, because his father is his last known weakness. So now he has no weakness. So the question is now, what is Batman going to do to KG Beast? I don't know. Adventures of the Super Sons, issue number 3 of 12. Superboy Red and Superboy Blue. I love this
There's
issue.
a Superboy Red and Blue?
Because Robin screwed with Red Kryptonite, and it separated...
wait a minute.
It separates John into two.
I want to see this now. Oh.
So, Robin's trying to bring both Superboys in. They're fighting with one another. The Injustice gang is trying to fight that. You know, they're fighting against the Injustice gang a bit, but, you know, obviously the two Superboys are not exactly getting along the best. Joker Jr. almost gets killed by Deathstroke Jr., but is saved by Space Cabbie, who I like. Space Cabbie. I've enjoyed him in Green Lantern. So, long story short, their ship ends up crashing because of all the stuff going on it, and they lose the synthetic kryptonite. So now the question is, how do we get Superboy back together? But a bigger dilemma is to save the ship. Both Superboys slowed it down, and one of them didn't exactly come out unscathed. So Space Cabbie shows up in the end to kind of save them or to get them out of there. The question is, will Superboy Blue, who was hurt, survive? Because if he doesn't, then half of John
I
is
saw
gonna
Joker
be gone.
Jr. on the thing where he's just like saying,
Yeah,
"Get
Space
in."
Cabbie saved him.
Oh.
I enjoyed this issue. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the Super Sons. I do hope that by the time this series ends, it'll be a year later. John hopefully will be back. Maybe we'll get another Super Sons book, or maybe not. Maybe John will just become a side character again, a support character. I don't know. I really feel like Bendis is taking Superman way back to his roots, before he was with Lois, before John. And the good news is he's still with Lois. The question is, what's going on with John? I would like to know that at some point. But I enjoyed the Super Sons. This is a fun adventure so far, and I think this is the last book, right?
Yeah.
Final book is Justice League issue number 9. Scott Snyder I like the variant. I will say that. I really do hope when I ordered my physical copy,
they
I
actually
got
have a
that
sketch
one.
of that also.
Yeah, that one's too much money. I like this one. So I really hope I got that variant. I love Jim Lee. Jim Lee did all the variants for the first several issues, and he did tons of, like, I have, once again, on my wall, you can see over there, I have Superman. That's Superman, and then on my wall over here, behind me right there, right here, is the Batman variant for issue 1. Superman was issue 7, 8 was Joker, and now 9 is Flash. I believe we had Hawkgirl, we had Green Lantern already, we had Wonder Woman. I like it. Again, I should have been smart to get all the variants, but I didn't. So I didn't chase after too many. I did chase after Superman, which I found, and Batman is here because I have the Jim. I think it's a Jim Lee autograph, is it? No, it's a Scott Snyder autograph, number 1. If I find Jim Lee, I'll have him sign it too. But in this issue, it's a lot of talking, and anyone who knows Scott Snyder from Batman and the New 52, you guys already know he likes to in-depthly detail everything, and that's what he's doing here. And this is a segue book also. This is taking place after the first arc and leading into Drowned Earth, which is the second arc. And it's so much talking. Batman is on a heel right now, and he has a mobile cast, so he's able to move around, but not as agile as he normally would, because if you guys remember what Lex did to him, he basically destroyed Batman's body, so they had to put all of his bones back together, and now he has to heal. Hawkgirl and John have a moment here, but the biggest part of this book was Wonder Woman talking to Aquaman, and it set up two things. It set up Justice League Dark Wonder Woman, and it sets up for Justice League Aquaman Drowned Earth. Now, Drowned Earth is going to be 2 months. Next month, it's going to be the end of this month and the next month, which is the road to Drowned Earth, and then in November, or December, whatever. The next arc right after that is the road to Drowned, and then right after that is Drowned. So literally 2 months of this event. One is a road and one is the actual event. And then I believe it's November, December, and then January will be the aftermath. There's a lot that's going to be going on, and this connects to the Batman that laughs. This connects to just the Legion of Doom. My question is, after all this, is Lex Luthor going to go back to status quo post-crisis, or is he now back to his I'm a villain on the run from the law? That's my question, is where will Lex Luthor fall after all of this? Because there's LexCorp. But Lex Luthor's okay in the Superman book, because if you read Superman, you saw Lex Luthor finds Lois Lane, and he's in his suit and tie. So I don't know how far out of continuity Justice League is. How far ahead, how far back, but is Lex Luthor going to stay the villain, or will he go back to being who he is? I don't know. It's a lot of talking. I love the Batman and Superman moment. Superman recreating the moon, rebuilds the moon, because if he doesn't, the world is basically going, the waves and whatnot, the gravitational pull is going to start destroying the world. So he recreates the moon. Batman wants to put like all these defenses on the moon. He's like, no, we're putting it back the exact same way it was. And I love how Batman's like, things are different now. The source wall was destroyed. We have to be willing to change. And Superman's like, yeah, then how come you won't let magic kill you? You could have been healed and walking around perfectly fine already if you would have done magic. So why aren't you willing to bend and change and accept magic? Because Batman hates magic. Batman refuses magic, but Superman's right. If he's saying that everybody has to be willing to change, why isn't Batman willing to change? Why not use magic to heal him? So Superman puts the moon back exactly the way it was, and it looks amazing. And everybody's happy. And this big threat's coming, but in the end, of course, Superman's like, I don't need the Justice League to help me. I don't need you guys, because I know you set this threat up, and it just left. And that's what happened. The threat came, and the threat left. And didn't even start a fight. But the moon's done. So, it was awesome. And then there's a mess hall moment with Green Lantern and John Stewart, Green Lantern, and Flash. I like that. I like the mess hall also. It was nice. But again, a lot of talking. Especially the Wonder Woman Aquaman parts. Too much. Scott, please, we don't need to the T detail. Just pull back the dialogue. I say this again. I know that you write these books months in advance, so if you are still writing, or whatever arc you're writing now, and if you're watching this by some act of God, if Scott Snyder actually gives a shit about my reviews, please, Scott, just cut the dialogue down a little bit. It's a little too much and it's a little too detailed, and a lot of people are not liking that. It's not just me. A lot of people are dropping the book because they're like, it's too detailed. For me, I don't care as much, but I could sure use a little bit less detail and a little bit less dialogue in my Justice League book. Am I leaving it? No. Would I compare this to Brian Hitch's run? No. I still do not. I still say that Brian Hitch's run is not my favorite at all. This is definitely a step up, but Scott Snyder needs to shrink the dialogue just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit, but it is still part of my top 5. I still am enjoying Justice League, and I'm looking forward to The Road and then Drowned Earth. I will be getting both Aquaman and Justice League physically for this crossover event. Now, with that, that's it for this review. I don't want to have too much of a post show, but again, I'd like to reference the beginning of the show where I mentioned Dark Avenger Gaming. We'll be doing some Horror Fest. I have new games as well, so I just want to throw this out there that while I do want to really do Horror Fest this month, the new games are starting to pile up. Like I said, I didn't realize how many new games were coming out this month. So if it's not Horror Fest, it might be Forza. If it's not Forza, it might be Tomb Raider. If it's not Tomb Raider, it might be Call of Duty. If it's not Call of Duty, it could be Assassin's Creed. And then at the very end of the month, we're getting Red Dead Redemption. It could be any of those games at any moment. So just understand, if it's not a horror game, it's because there are a lot of games that I do not want to get backed up. Because I want to play all of these games and I want to have fun with it. Also, I almost forgot this, Extra Life. I am a part of the Extra Life charity drive that's happening on November 3rd. It's a full 24-hour celebration day. But my charity setup, my donation for charity setup is year-round. The celebration day is November 3rd. I will be streaming as much as I can on that Saturday. It's the first Saturday of the month. However, I'm keeping my donation button up for the charity I chose and for Extra Life permanent. So if you cannot make it November 3rd, or if you can't donate by November 3rd, if it's because of the holidays, it's fine, because that donate button is always going to be active. I will always be sponsoring an Extra Life charity. So if you can't do it November 3rd, but you can do it in 2019, great. If you can do it right now, awesome. The button is on my Twitch channel. You can go over to Dark Avenger Gaming, twitch.tv/Dark Avenger Gaming, and the button is right below the stream video. I am a proud worker for the Extra, or a proud supporter and streamer for Extra Life. If you can donate some money to these children that need it, please do. They need it way more than me. I do have a donate button on my channel too. Again, it's not required for my channel, but it helps Mike and I get to our goals and things that we want a little bit faster, but we'll get there no matter what. If you have to choose, always donate to the kids first. The kids need it more than we do. Like I said, we'll get there. It'll just take us a little bit more time, but your money will help a child in the hospital right now that really needs it. So if you can, donate to Extra Life. If you want to donate to Extra Life and to us, more power to you, and I will thank anyone, as I always do, if there is a donation for the channel. Also, don't forget there will be a video next month. Big, huge update for 2019 and for everything that I am doing. Look forward to that, and try not to worry yourselves too much about it, but at the same time, know that it is something big. Till then, everybody, as always, this was the Dark Avenger comic book review. Don't forget, today is Thursday. You're watching this probably Thursday morning. Tonight, Jesse's Comic Conversation over at JLS Comics. Sunday morning comics with Justin on Exile State Comics. Monday will not be Dark Avenger Live, but check out Dark Avenger Gaming. We might have something there. Friday, I almost missed. I'm going to go back. Friday, Zone 4. We will be talking about Titans, episode number 1, and Doctor Who, episode 1 of the new season, a new Doctor, and a new way to Doctor Who. Coming back again Tuesday will be Frontline live, and then hopefully back here again on Wednesday live for another episode of the Dark Avenger comic book review, and then we will start this all up once again. Take care, everybody. Keep reading, keep collecting, and we'll see you all in the next episode of the Dark Avenger comic book review.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.